Title: I met John Wayne Gacy and barely got away, didn't realize until years later. I've never told anyone this, but after seeing so many true crime stories about people who had close calls with serial killers, I realized I might have been one of them. I think I almost got kidnapped by John Wayne Gacy. This happened in the mid-70s when I was around 15. I grew up in Chicago, not too far from where Gacy lived, though back then, he was just some random guy, not the monster we all know about now. My parents were always working, so I had a lot of freedom to roam around the city with my friends. We'd take the bus, hang out at the mall, just typical teenager stuff. One afternoon, I was walking home alone from a friend's house when a car pulled up next to me. The driver was this stocky guy, maybe in his 30s or 40s, with a round face and dark hair. He had this really friendly energy, like one of those guys who acts like they've known you forever. He leaned over and said, "Hey there, kiddo. You need a ride? You heading home?" I remember feeling uneasy right away. My parents had always told me not to take rides from strangers, but he wasn't acting like a stranger. He acted like someone I was supposed to know. I hesitated, and then he said something I'll never forget. "You ever think about making some money? I could use a strong kid like you to help me out with some work." I don't know why, but something in my gut screamed no. Maybe it was the way he was smiling, too friendly, too forced. Or maybe it was just that deep, instinctive feeling that something wasn't right. I shook my head and took a step back. His whole demeanor changed. The friendly mask dropped for just a second, and his eyes went cold. Then, just like that, he smiled again and said, "All right, suit yourself, kid." He drove off, and I ran home. I didn't think much about it after that. It was just a weird encounter, one of those things that gives you a bad vibe, but you move on. It wasn't until years later, when Gacy was finally caught, that I saw his face on the news and felt my stomach drop. It was him. The same guy who had offered me a ride. The same guy who killed dozens of boys and young men. The same guy who used fake job offers to lure his victims. I don't know if he would have grabbed me that day. Maybe he was just testing me, seeing if I'd get in willingly. But I still think about it sometimes, how close I came to disappearing, how my name could have been on that list of boys who never came home. Trust your gut. It might save your life.